I'm really happy today to have the chance to chat with Kathleen Dutton, who is an artist of many, many years. She actually started life as a designer for Conran, and she was working in, well, I don't know, it started, but a long time ago, that's what you were doing. And she was in the Far East, in Hong Kong for many years, and worked all over the Far East. And whilst at the same time doing her own personal creative work. And I'm really interested in exploring with her, you know, that journey that she's come to so far, and what's brought her here today. Now, many of you may have already seen on your way here, or if you haven't, please do go after. There's a giant set of wings. Has anyone seen the wings? Has anyone stood in front of the wings and felt their own wings? Okay, well, the creator of those beautiful wings was Kathy. And I'd like to perhaps explore what's behind the wings, what's this interest in the angels, and what is it that inspires and keeps her energized in her work?
The wings came about because I like the idea that flight is something that liberates everybody, and most people have dreams of flying, and they're nice dreams. And the idea of being free from gravity. It's a consistent theme throughout my paintings. But when you meditate as well, or you do yoga, or you swim, you have that feeling of just, it's like, it's a feeling of flying, it's a feeling of flight, and it's a lifting, lovely feeling. And that's sort of to capture that. But I also like the idea that all sorts of different people would stand in front of them. So I've also done some paintings which are called Everyday Angels, and they're angels that I see every day who just do simple acts of kindness in my neighbourhood and my family. And so I like the idea that anybody can be an angel. It doesn't have to be a special person. It's just, and even somebody who's a bit of a naughty person can just be an angel for one day, or just do one really nice thing for somebody. And it can be quite transformative. And I like the idea of that. So that's kind of what they're all about. And it's been lovely watching people stand in front of them and become animated in different ways, a little bit cheeky or slightly reverent. Yeah, it's really been quite lovely watching that today.
Very playful, you know, kind of.
Yeah, I like playful. It's an innocence. A lot of my work taps into that feeling of innocence and purity and simplicity. I try to make drawings, ideas as simple as possible, not because that's how I think. I usually think in quite can be very chaotic sort of way. I get loads of ideas all the time, and so I have to think about how to filter those ideas. So I basically use my sketchbooks a lot of time to filter some of those ideas and just put them down. But in the morning I do meditation, and that sort of also helps to clarify. Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the meditation. What's going on when you're doing meditation?
When I do meditation, I've tried lots of different meditations over the years, but the meditation that I prefer is now, I really like the Brahmi Kumaris meditation. It's very simple, the idea of just visualizing a little dot on the head, visualizing a little point on the head. It's such a simple thing, but I actually spread it around me and maybe make it into little balls. So I'm inside of a ball. Sometimes I find it makes me a little bit too airy-fairy, so I have to put roots down as well. But for me, doing that meditation, giving myself the time to have silence and to bring myself into a space where I have calm in the morning, it means that I can... There's a part of our brain that when you're not thinking is much more intelligent than anything I could ever say. You're tapping into that intelligence, which is the greater kind of energy, of universal energy, that force. Feel kind of connected to it, a bit like Star Wars, the idea of being connected to the force. And and it's on the side of good almost, and you feel there's a vibration to it and a momentum to it as well. So yeah,
It's kind of tapping into your deeper consciousness or your
Yeah, or it's
deeper
allowing my
awareness.
deeper consciousness to see what's actually real in a sense. And also, the more I've done it, because I've actually done meditation for since I was in my 20s. And I have got better, thankfully, since I got into my 50s. So, because I have, as I say, a lot of really rapid thoughts. I'm a creative person, have a lot of ideas, a lot of different thoughts, and actually calming it all down and finding meditation brings that way of calming and distilling without making an effort. It's
Very interesting, because actually a conversation that I think some of you may have heard just earlier with Cecile, who's also an artist, and she was talking about beginner's luck with art, and she was saying how the importance of, with a beginner, there's that purity, there's the kind of innocence, and there's that concentration because you're new, so you're really focused. And in a way, that's what we're doing perhaps when we're meditating, is we're returning to that purity and that concentration that perhaps with all our busyness and ideas and plans and this happened and that happened. Do you think
Yeah,
there's
I think so. I think it's when we go into the meditative state, we bypass all the chitty chattiness and connect to something that's much deeper than our own sort of level of existence. Actually takes us into other realms as well. I mean, I think you can use meditation to go into different aspects of ourselves, higher vibrational energy that we all have. Every single person has that potential. I think martial arts, and how people use physically and mentally bring together these energies, I think is also very sort of powerful and balancing, that we all need these things.
I'd like to take you up on this, particularly this word energy, which I know is something that's very important to you. And you actually had an exhibition, I think, in 2012, and the title was "Everything is Energy." What do you mean by that?
At that moment, what I
What
meant,
did you mean by that?
at that moment when I wrote it and I had the I thought, was it was just this feeling of, for many years, I lived in Hong Kong, and there's been very conscious of Zen and Taoism and the idea of potential energy, the uncarved block, that there's a nothing before the something, and that, like Andy Warhol actually famously said something like, everything comes from nothing. And I think this idea of energy being a nothing before it comes as something is very engaging. And I think it made, I wanted to capture that in paintings, and I wanted to capture the fact that that energy was focused, but also it was kind of quite transient, that it can sort of disperse. And so those paintings are actually, they're figurative, but on the edge of being abstract as well. So I think to capture that essence. But so that's what I think. Yeah.
Actually, just adding to, as well as the wings that are on show in the front lawn, there are also some paintings by Kathy that are up in the presentation room. So yeah, do take a chance to have a look. So okay, how do you re-energize yourself? How do you re-energize your work and keep that newness, that freshness?
Okay, I've got quite a number of ways that I do it. If I feel like I really I don't know where to begin, I sometimes just start writing, going into stream of consciousness, and then writing triggers drawing. Or sometimes I'll work with another person, say who's a writer, and then we will feed into each other. And there's usually somebody who's very much on the same frequency as me, and I'll just think, yeah, absolutely, this sort of gets the ideas going. It takes you out of my own self and makes me, and it starts connecting your energy with another person, lifts your ideas. Music, I think, is a fantastic catalyst. Really brilliant music. Like, I really love the music of Lucinda Drayton. I cry and I paint at the same time. It's just crazy. But I've always had this thing of where music and poetry can be a catalyst for painting. And I also write myself, but I don't, I don't particularly like sharing that. I don't feel like it's not a part of myself I'm so confident with, but I use it more as a tool. But meditation is part of it because I chose to take the path. When I was young, when I was 17 and 18, a lot of my things were quite sort of a bit gothy and a bit distressed, and lots of black faces coming out of black ink. And now, it's almost like the reverse of that. It's much lighter. It's positive coming out of negative space sometimes. So I use a lot of white coming out of dark space or colours. So I have very contrasting energies because things aren't all nice and fluffy in our lives. Our lives can be hard and they can be really big challenges. But it's about finding that little moment of light, that little glimmer of light within the dark situation can lift yourself, lift your creativity, and also connecting with others as well.
You said something very interesting about, I think it was about your time working with Conran, and you were saying that I just got fed up with the fact that everyone always focused on the problem. And I think there is a tendency for that. And it's like, it was almost like a decision of yours. Okay, I'm going to try and focus on the solution. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I did. And it was, when you get a design brief, they always call it, it's the design brief is always looking at a problem, a design problem. I do like solving problems, but the thing is that when I did it in illustration, a lot of the time I did various different commissions after Conran, and a lot of the commissions would be, say, to save the environment, but I would be focusing on the fact that there's, not much time. We need to, that the water is polluted. So I'd be showing images of the pollution, of the sadness and the tragedy of the moment. And now, with my kind of the way that I feel and think now, I tend to, within my illustration, I tend to focus on what the solutions could be. So in focusing on what the solutions can be, that everybody can have solutions. I mean, I do actually believe that as more and more people come forward and start speaking and having a voice, that solutions can be found for everything in this world. It's just that I don't particularly like speaking like this, but but I think actually every single person could actually get up and speak, and everybody's got something really powerful to say, and it's when they do that the world almost really does start to change. When people really start to feel that their vibration is so important, that we need to co-create together to build a new world. And so I try to capture that essence in my illustration that I do now, and I only take projects where I feel are in line with my own values. Yeah.
It's kind of honouring yourself, honouring your own. I'm interested in, you talked about co-creation. You talked about, you love listening to music while you're painting, but I know that you're passionate about working on collaborative projects.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about, why that is, and what's the what happens when you do collaborate with others? Why is it
I love
special
working on collaborative projects because they bring out a different aspect of myself, and also I think the idea that you again bypass yourself. It's like when you're on your own, it can be just a little bit too, oh, me, oh, me, my thing, me. Whereas when you work with other people, you're saying, we want to create this, we want to create that, we want to, and I'm doing a project at the moment, which is with an organisation called Spirited Bodies, this lady called Esther Bunting. And
nice name?
yeah, she's got a very cool name. And basically, you're getting together life drawing models, and with this lady called Sarah Kent, who does sound, she does the gongs and sound baths to create a vibrational frequency within a space, but also work with singers and different kinds of voice, so it could be poetry. So you have poetry, you have sound, you have drawing. Sometimes we have movement within it, like sort of Tai Chi style movements. Sometimes it will be much more expressive. So it's actually about bringing dance, movement, drawing, and sound together. And through the collaboration, it's stretched us all in slightly different ways than we would normally go. Each one of us have had different challenges by having to do it, and there is no way that either one of us would have done what we're doing now. And there's a lot of people interested to do more with us, and it's something that we would not have done alone. So, and I think it opened a door for us collaborating, but also, and then it opens doors for other people, because other people are saying, oh yeah, but I would like to do photography like this next time you do it. And when you do the joint drawings, maybe, could I actually do this part? You know, and so other people, as you step forward into doing things, and you never feel confident. Other people always think, yeah, but you're confident. Nobody's confident. You feel really scared. You think, oh, I shouldn't have done it. Why did I tell them I had this dream? Why did I even go down that path in the first place? Everyone feels like it's not that great, their idea or what they're doing. And I think it's understanding as well, getting past that. I think that's one of the biggest blocks to everything.
I think actually what you've raised is really important. It's like, you know, we do get blocks, or we do get lack of confidence, or maybe someone says something not very nice and we take that on board. How do we learn to deal with that? It's not that we don't want to listen or whatever, but how do we get over the blocks or the bad press, so to speak?
I think I'm learning. I mean, I'm in a space now where I'm starting to be more and more in a public sort of space. And as I said, it's not something I feel totally comfortable with, but I'm starting to accept that if I'm not that, it's in some ways it's only when you think I'm actually serving for a bigger purpose and I'm co-creating with other people, then you kind of, that your own ego gets out of the way. It doesn't feel so much like it's me. It's that thing again. So yeah, I don't know if does.
No?
So, and also because I do meditation, I think the other thing is that if I do meditation in the morning and I have that lovely peaceful space to start with, it means I can bring that peaceful space back into myself later. If there's any challenges during the day, I can bring myself back into that. If I've already experienced peace and a lovely vibe, then I can bring that back, and I can accept that other people are not in that space today. Sometimes I'm not in that space. Sometimes I'm the mad cow running around and annoying everybody. So, you know, sometimes I can be the person. It can be flipped.
Yeah.
So it's understanding that we all have a day to be peaceful. Yeah. We all have a day to be, you know, irritated. We all have big problems, and not taking it personally. I mean, I'm really learning big time on social media, because obviously people are saying things in a public way, and you have to work out, how do you deal with this? Do you delete it? Do you answer them? What do you do? I mean, I send everybody good wishes, because I know that by God's grace, yeah, I could be, you know, in anybody's position at any time. I really do feel that. I feel that the connection of humanity is a powerful and strong vehicle that is, to me, I feel, although we hear the bad news on the TV, I think that is also gaining momentum at the same time, the positive. Yeah.
Coming back to the first thing we talked about, which is angels. I know it's something that you've been working on particularly for the last year or so. Tell us a bit more about why and what you're hoping perhaps you will communicate through your work.
Why? I think, for me, I tend not to go into why am I doing things that much, because basically what I do is I do meditation and then I do what comes up. So if when I meditate, I'm going through a phase of seeing kind of angelic things, I'll record that. If I'm going through a phase, a lot of times I see words and image together, and they come with, say, meditation, because I did graphics for many years. So I see even angelic ideas about sort of being kind and compassionate to other humans. These come as visual ideas to me. So for me, it's about being quiet enough that I listen to that sort of the quieter part of myself that knows what it's doing. The noisy sort of kind of slightly wild side is not that disciplined to get on with the things that I need to do. And so I think it's cultivating that calmness and actually allowing the ideas to just drop in. I think they're there already. I'm just like moving out the way so that they can drop in. And I think that's how it is for all people as well. I think, you know, it's people have their epiphany moments when they're in the shower because they're not thinking, or in the bath. They would say, you know, or when they're swimming or when they're relaxing. People, when we're thinking, we can't solve the problem. And when we take time out and we allow our vibration to sort of tune out, I think we can start to have much better solutions, because they're not of our mind, they're actually of our higher selves. And also, if, you know, whatever we connect to, you know, some people connect to the idea of God, some connect to, you know, the idea of creator of all that is. Another person might connect to the idea of it being something to do with nature. But I think all people have got their own idea of what the superpower is that's feeding their own power, and we all have a connection, a different connection. I think, yeah.
Talking about our own power and coming into our own power, I was rather touched when you told me about finding a little piece of paper which you didn't even know you had.
No, that's right.
And you just opened it. Was it the day before yesterday or something? Went,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So I wondered whether we might finish with you reading this wonderful paper. And it's kind of like a symbol of the wisdom that we have inside ourselves that we lose sight of. So
yeah, because
I can't
I can't remember writing this at all. So I don't know if I wrote it or if I wrote it, somebody else has written it and I've written it down. But it was on a piece of paper and it was all scrumpled up. And I opened it up, and it was yesterday, and I was just about to come here and do the piece in the park. And I was like, so nervous because I was going to have to do this. But here the quote is, heroes aren't the warriors, the firefighters and the teachers. Heroes are the souls, both women and men, who every day pursue a silent personal victory, a victory over average, a win against mediocrity, a success above defeat.
So, Kathy, thank you so much. I really enjoyed. I know we've all really enjoyed. And let's take that sense of being our own hero with us.